Welcome back, everybody, for another week and another Wednesday watch list. This will be a list of the books that I'm looking for this upcoming Wednesday for New Comic Book Day, and we are talking about for May 10th, 2023. Running a little bit behind this weekend, so I'm actually having to skip the Tales from the Dark Side Star Wars show because I needed to sit down and record these and get these edited and out for you guys on Monday. So had to skip out on Star Wars. Just too much going on this weekend to make time for everything. But hopefully that's all right. And hopefully you guys are enjoying everything here on the channel. Once again, this is members first content. So as soon as I'm done editing this, I'll drop this for members and I'll release it to everybody else probably on Monday afternoon, if not Tuesday if I can't get it done in time. But if you want to see what books that I'm keeping an eye on for this upcoming Wednesday, as far as the new releases go, the incentives, some homages, some variants, etc., some second prints, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I'll give you my rundown in a second. Okay, so we are going to start off with something a little bit different. We're just going to start off with something that's just a little bit fun. Comics should be fun. We should be buying things that make us smile and make us laugh. So, with that in mind, a couple of things stood out to me this week. Not so much as far as spec value or anything like that. I just looked at the covers and they made me smile. So I said, you know what? Maybe I'll get these just because of that reason. First one being this Danger Street #6. Yes, David Nakayama has done a bunch of these cereal box covers, and I like them usually. And I kind of like this Dark Side one. I don't know. There's something amusing to me about it. This whole kind of Fruit Loops angle here with Danger Street with Omega 3. I don't know. I like it. Will I definitely get it? I'm not sure yet. Nor do I think this is any sort of, like I said, investment value. It's just something, like I said, that made me smile that I might go and grab. Next up is another cover price book that just looked odd enough to have me curious. And this, I think, is another American mythology book. And this is Cartoon Puppet Horror Theater #1. I know nothing about what this title is. There's like 4 different covers. There's a lot of different puppets. There was something about this first one, inappropriate nature of it, I guess. And you got like a Freddy Krueger kind of angle. It just kind of caught my eye and looked just weird enough to make me curious. So if this is on the shelf when I go on Wednesday, I might just grab this to give it a quick read just because of that. It's just odd enough to be interesting. Once again, we'll see what happens with it. That said, that's the weird stuff. That's the fun stuff that I had for you this week. Like I said, they just kind of caught my eye when I was going through the rundown of books. So I figured I'd give them a quick little call out. But another thing I noticed this week is that there are quite a few homage covers, whatever you want to call them. We got a few more. Starting in with Harley. I mean, granted, this whole Harley Saves the DC Universe series has a bunch of these already. So I'm not surprised that we see another Action Comics 1. And you guys know I just did an Action Comics 1 Hidden Gems a couple of weeks ago. This could have made the list had it been out. But here we go. Harley Screws Up the DC Universe #3. This is I believe, just the A cover. So this is the A cover that you can go and grab. And there it is. Pretty solid Action Comics 1 homage. Then we have a new title coming out. I think it's called Something Epic, coming out of Image. And there are a lot of covers here. A lot of covers and a lot of homages to various things. As you can see here, we've got a Terminator 2 Judgment Day poster right in front of you. We have an Amazing Fantasy 15 homage right here. And this is not even the only one of these we're getting this week. Yes, I know this is kind of a tired one, but hey, here it is yet again. And then next, which I thought was weird because, yes, you look at the next one, you're like, it's a Nintendo, but trying to figure out which Nintendo it kind of matched with, the closest I could find is it looks a little bit like the European version of Super Mario Brothers 1. Because regular Super Mario Brothers 1 has him jumping. That's not what they're showing us here. They're showing us more a bit of action going on in the background. But that said, even in this background, I see Dracula's Castle from Castlevania and other like titles and series mixed into this as well. So it is kind of like a hodgepodge amalgamation of things, but the closest that it looked like to me, is I'm sure you can see it here, is that European version of Super Mario Brothers. That's what I thought, at least. I mean, if you know of a closer connection than this one, please let me know, share it in the comments, because this is the best I could do. When I looked, I was like, I think it's this one. But that said, we still have more. We still have more this week. This one, I don't think, it's not even like listed this way. It just made me think of this. So maybe this isn't an homage. I think it is. But Captain Marvel, this particular cover looks like Alien 3 to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but this looks like the poster to Alien 3 with the, they got the whole Brood storyline going on with Captain Marvel right now. So that's what I saw when I looked at this one. I mean, agree, disagree, let me know what you think. It's not sold that way. It's not like in the listing that way. It's just when I saw it, this is what I thought of. So I figured I'd put it in here because, yeah, it did kind of catch my eye. And as I mentioned, Amazing Fantasy 15. Not the only one. This Amazing Spider-Man 25, we got it again. Granted, with the black suit, this looks more like a 252, which is already an homage in and of itself. So I'm also going to put an homage of an homage, but Amazing Spider-Man 15, Mary Jane there in the place of the Duty Saber, another Spidey. Now, while the next little bit's not technically going to be homages, I decided to create something new for this, just one time. Hopefully it's a one-time only thing. Weird little segment. That looks familiar because I saw a couple of books this week and I thought to myself, that looks familiar. And there's a reason for it. First up, yet another variant for Amazing Spider-Man 25. We have this Greg Land MJ dressed up as Spidey sitting there smiling. Great. Not a bad cover. Not bad, right? But it looked familiar. It looks familiar for a book that's even coming out this week. Another book coming out this week has this cover. Also by Greg Land. Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones. This is, I guess, I don't know if this is Gwen as Anna Kravinoff or whatever her name was, Craven's daughter. I don't know if that's what this is supposed to be, but yeah, pretty familiar pose, right? Once again, it still looks familiar. I know I'm probably missing some, but just a quick little rundown. Yeah, Gwenverse #1. Hey, that's the same pose. Wait a second. He did it again on #4. Hold on. Yep, that's it again on #5. Talk about reusing art. Sure, the costume changed, but seriously, I thought it looked familiar. That said, I don't think I'm getting either of those because, well, I've seen it before. Speaking of which, covers. What covers am I looking out for? Let's get into that part next. I always like doing this. It's kind of like my little cover art, cover picks, the covers I like. Yes, we're getting another Disney. I'm sure these are being ordered, I think, healthily now. So these aren't hard to get. So I wouldn't overpay for any of these. But we have a new Avengers homage. This could have went into the homage section, but I put it in here. Yes, there is this new Avengers one homage to ASM 25, and there's a 1 in 100 black and white version. If you are interested, again, I don't think they're hard to find anymore. But we'll get back to that 1 in 100 in a little bit. For now, we're sticking with the regular cover price stuff. Another Spider-Man 2099 book. I like the old school border. And this time we've got Blade 2099, I think, first appearing in this book. So we're getting it called out right here on the cover. So I kind of like this Dark Genesis series. It looks like they're introducing new characters, every issue. So tons of first appearances if you're into that kind of thing. But I just like this cover. So I like the border. I like the throwback. It brings me back to another time. So that's why I like this one. Speaking of being brought back to another time, I also like it when they do that kind of beat up paperback kind of like novel. It looks like it's been used and worn, even though it's just in the cover art. And they're doing that for one reason or another on Invincible Iron Man. Well, they got 656. I guess maybe that's the legacy numbering, but I think it's just #6 for this current series. But I like the kind of rough nature that they kind of make it look like it's a beat up old kind of paperback kind of thing. So I don't know, it's kind of caught my eye, so I thought it was kind of cool. I'll see what it looks like in person, when I go to the shop. But I think it's I can't remember who the artist is. It might be Kale Goo or something. Anyway, doesn't matter. You guys can look it up for yourselves. Just Image of Iron Man #6 kind of caught my eye. Another one that's going with the same vibes on the DC side of things. This is a one-shot called Gotham Academy Maps of Mystery. Again, it's kind of this throwback kind of magazine, kind of a paperback kind of thing. I don't know. They always just catch my eye. I always kind of like it. I don't know why. Will I get it? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get this one for sure. It depends on how big my stack is. I don't want to be spending like $60 just every week on new releases just because I like the covers. I mean, there still has to be a limit. At least my wife tells me at least there should be a limit. And I try to maintain as best I can. But these are still things that are under consideration just because, like I said, they caught my eye when I was looking. Just like Scar. I haven't read the first issue of Scar yet. There were just too many covers. I forget which one I even got. So I haven't gotten around to it yet. But we are getting Scar #2, and we're getting a whole another plethora of covers But the one that kind of stuck out to me was this Jay Lee one. It just, I don't know, it kind of struck me a little bit differently than the rest. And Dynamite just has way too many covers. There's just way too many. And then there's different versions. There's a virgin version of this as well. I just, that also kind of turns me off. There's just too many, too much, too many choices. It locks you in indecision in a lot of cases. So I don't know. Don't know if I'm going to get this for certain, but this was the one that kind of jumped out at me. It's just an oddball thing that kind of just struck me. Is this cover for Noctera? What are we at? Issue 14 now? I've fallen off reading this. I know people have told me that it's good. It's just I just stopped getting them because I wasn't reading them. And I'm like, well, am I just going to keep buying these things just to keep buying them? Maybe I need to go back and read them and go see if I need to go start picking up back issues that I missed. I don't know. You tell me how good it is if I need to go back and get them, because I think I dropped off after like 8 issues or something like that. And I just like, you know what? I haven't been reading this. Why am I keep getting this out of habit? But this cover kind of jumps out at me. I kind of like it. I don't know. Another title I know very little about. Just saw this cover and it piqued my interest. This Count Dante. When I read it, it's like the unauthorized, sort of true story of the deadliest man who ever lived. No idea what it is, but it's got this kind of kung fu thing in the background, kind of a 70s vibe. Kind of dig it. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check this out if I find it on the shelf. It's got me curious enough. And that's what a cover should do. Because yes, a lot of times I'll buy a cover just for the art. Be like, oh, I like the cover artist and I just want the art. Doesn't matter what's in the inside. This is a case where the cover has me interested enough to want to know what's in the guts of this book. Doesn't happen often, but this is one where it's got me. It's got me curious. Scout Comics, good job on that one. You got me curious of what's in the guts of this book. So maybe I'll go and pick this one up to try to give it a read. Now, I mentioned in the beginning, we do have some second prints. So let's hit those up real quickly. Our I shouldn't even just say later prints. They're all second prints this week. So for our second prints, we're getting some indies. We're getting The Nasty #1, a second printing. I don't know if you guys remember this one. There are those ratio incentives I think I had on the list like a couple months ago. But here, we got a second print for The Nasty, #1. Will this do anything? I don't know. But something to keep an eye on. Just like Briar, #4. Why is Briar #4 getting a second print? I can't tell you, because this is another series I haven't read this yet. Boom has just been coming out with too many titles for me to keep up with. Following Something's Killing the Children, House of Slaughter, Grimm, and we got Briar, and there's just too much. I only have so much time in a week. I can't read all this stuff. But if I'm missing something, please let me know. Please let me know if it's worth my time to go back. But just figured I'd throw it out there that there is a second printing for #4. For one reason or another. I honestly can't tell you if it's like there's a first in there or something like that, why this book might have sold. I haven't heard anything about it. I'm just putting it on the list to saying, hey, if you like collecting later prints, these are the ones that are coming out this week. Like over on the Marvel side of things, Avengers Beyond #1. Big Beyonder fans out there, you guys can go and grab this. I know my one buddy Keith at work, he's a Beyonder fan, so I'm sure he's going to make sure he gets at least 2 of these for himself. But there it is. No incentives on this one. It's just a second print for Avengers Beyond #1. Looks like an interior art being pulled to use for the cover. That's fine. And then we've got It's Jeff. So Jeff the Shark also getting a second print. I don't know if these actually sold that many copies that they necessitated second prints or what or why we're getting these, but we are. And here they are, second printings. So there you go. It's Jeff, because I feel like there was enough. It's, the Jeff the Land Shark comics when that came out. I didn't think it was something that really needed a second, but I don't know. I guess so. That said, those are the regulars. Another regular second print we have is for Invincible Iron Man #4. This one, I remember I brought this one up on Dollar Bin Digging because I put that connection to the the bad guy down there below. I can't remember his name now. But anyway, Iron Man #4 here, Invincible Iron Man #4 is not only getting a second print, but they are doing a 1 in 25 for the second printing. Now, you know my feeling. I mean, I've gone through this before. I don't like incentives on later printings, and I definitely don't like black and white covers. I don't like reusing the 1 in 25 Art Adams art, but now we just get it in black and white on the 1 in 25. It just seems lazy. It just seems like they're just trying to pump up orders so shops will get at least 25 to qualify for this. But people do collect these. People do like it because they're rare. Again, assumptions. We can only make assumptions these days because there is no solid information as far as print run goes and how many of these things are printed, sold, or are out there. These don't know if there's like boxes or pallets of these stored at a warehouse somewhere. We know none of that. All I can tell you is people do like to collect these 1 in 25 second prints. So with that in mind, keep an eye out for it, because from what I've seen so far, there was a sale for $50, so double ratio, not too bad. And I couldn't find any listed yet. So there's no pre-sale listings just yet. Does that mean there's not any out there? Will there be none out there? I don't know. But I can tell you this, I couldn't find any today. This is Sunday. None listed yet. By Wednesday, maybe there will be some pre-sale listings. Maybe some copies will be listed once they hit people's hands on Wednesday. We'll see. But it's something I'm keeping an eye on. But I don't know where this one's going to go. Much like one more Marvel second print, Venom Lethal Protector #1. I kind of like this, even though it's black and white. You get that little bit of red with the trade dress, helps it. And I don't know, I do like the layout of this, but this is just the second print for #1. There is, as you might guess, a 1 in 25 for the second print as well. And this is actually, I think, the art for the regular #1, and it is wraparound art. So let's show you the whole cover here. It is a wraparound cover. It is black and white. I don't love it when they reuse the art, but this is also isn't bad. This isn't bad for black and white art. There's still some texture. There's still some quality look to this. It doesn't just look like an unfinished piece of art, which is what a lot of black and white ones look. They look unfinished because they are technically unfinished. But this doesn't look half bad. That said, what is this thing doing on the aftermarket? Well, so far, I couldn't find any pre-sales sold for this 1 in 25 of the second print, but there are a few listed, and they're looking for like 50, 56, and then somebody wants like close to $100 there, and they're giving you the regular, #1 there as well to kind of match up with it. Cool, but pretty pricey. So double ratio plus again on these. So where will these things go once Wednesday hits? Will they maintain that interest? I don't know. Maybe. Some of these have sold pretty well, like those Invincible Iron Man, I think ones, that one black and white cover with all the different armors. That thing's still a few $100s for whatever reason. Hey, people collect what they want to collect. But if you like incentives, hold on. I've got some for you, because this is what we've got for this week's list of incentives. First one is a bit confusing to me. Most places list this one as a 1 in 5. This Michael Cho cover for Octoberiana. I don't know if I'm saying her. And the Underground. I think it's Full Tilt. #1. Most places list it as a 1 in 5. Yet on Midtown, the way it's priced, they price this as if this is a 1 in 25. Don't know what's correct, but most places list it as 1 in 5. So I'm going to go and call this one a 1 in 25. I didn't go into details of seeing about sold copies and asking prices on some of these, because it's not really there yet. There's not many copies out there, not many copies moving. So there's nothing of interest as of yet, but I'm interested. So they're still on my watch list, because I still want to see what happens with this book, because this book came to my attention not because of the Michael Cho cover, which I do like. I mean, I kind of like that kind of propaganda kind of vibe that you're getting with that poster, but because of the 1 in 10 version, which is this one. This is Flops cover, and you guys know I like the artist Flops. I bought the store exclusives that Flops has done, and even got some of the stuff directly from the store. But this is a 1 in 10 for this Octoberiana. Again, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Octoberiana and the Underground cover. I have ordered this. I did order myself a couple copies, because like I said, I'm a fan, so I wanted this in my collection. I know this isn't like a book that I'm not going to find near me, because I don't think a lot of shops near me aren't ordering enough, and if they are, somebody else is probably grabbing it before I can get there. So I made sure I made arrangements online ahead of time. But keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on this one, because this one is a 1 in 10. And it could sell pretty well. I don't know. We'll see. I think when I was checking Midtown, this one's already sold out. So who knows? Not to say that's always an indicator when they're sold out at the big shops, but when the big shops sell out ahead of time, it is a little bit of an indicator. It's something at least to pique your interest, to keep an eye on, because that means somebody's been buying a bunch of copies for one reason or another. And then you just got to kind of listen to the talking heads and see who's talking about what. And hey, do they have copies for sale while they're talking about it? That said, I told you I ordered 2 copies of this, but I'm not selling either of them. This just was for me. The extra one, maybe it'll be part of a giveaway, because that's what I like doing. When there's things that I like and like artists that I like, I buy extras. So this way, when I do giveaways, I can give away the stuff that I like to help kind of spread awareness for those things that I like, for these artists and whatnot. So this way, other people can get a maybe create a fan of them as well by giving away a comic. But that all said, let's get on to some more of the other books. We do have a Star Wars, and we do have a Star Wars incentive. This is a David Aja cover. I do kind of like this. I know there's a lot of empty space here with the white, but this is High Republic number 9, 1 in 25. So far, it's selling above ratio. Again, it's 1 in 25. They're pre-sales for $30 to $50. Granted, those were a while ago. Those were back in April. I mean, those were a month ago. So those were early pre-sales. Asking prices right now, however, are right around that $50 mark. Will this remain in that spot? I don't know. But as you get later with some of these runs, they could have less of a print run. But at the same time, I do remember a lot of the first volume High Republic later variants still being pretty plentiful, because there's still a lot of store exclusives being done and whatnot. So then there's a lot of these covers still out there in circulation, which kind of keeps the prices from going too crazy. But still, it's worth noting, asking and selling for double ratio before it came out, something to keep an eye on. We'll see what happens when it hits Wednesday, because just because they're pre-selling, don't get FOMO based off of pre-sale prices. Because if anything that I've done this last couple of months, between doing this and then doing the top 10 and 10, while I may not spotlight them, notice if I do spend time talking about something on the watch list and then it doesn't show up on the top 10 and 10 of 4 days later, it means it didn't maintain that price and it didn't keep selling above that mark, that ratio mark or anything like that. It means prices have come down. A lot of these books and a lot of these incentives do that. Some crazy high pre-sale prices because people get scared, they get FOMO, they don't want to miss out. So if somebody's going to sell to them early and guarantee them a copy, they will throw that extra money out there, despite the fact that once the day comes and the books are out there, you know what? It may not actually be that hard to find, nor that expensive. So just try not to get FOMO with the pre-sale purchases. Just pay whatever you are comfortable with. Best of all, best advice I can give you, whatever you're comfortable with. And that's going to be different for everybody. People have different incomes. They got different expenses. It's different for everybody. So just be comfortable with where you are in your collecting. Next up, we got a DC 1 in 25. Pretty cool. Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country, Glass House 2. A lot of bright colors from the 80s. Got a Max Headroom vibe, but how topical is Max Headroom these days? I don't know. It's almost 40 years ago that Max Headroom first appeared, like 1985. But hey, it's kind of cool. I kind of like the bright colors. All right, that's it. But there it is. This is coming out. I don't know if this will do anything on the aftermarket. It's not really selling for much now or pre-selling for much now. So it's just something I'm keeping an eye on, because I just want to see what happens with this 80s throwback. See, look, you got a hard disc there. Not a floppy disk, a little hard drive disc down below, which still keeps that's a little early for the 80s. I mean, maybe not. Anyway, keep an eye out for this one. Just like I'm keeping an eye out for this Ladytron. This Wildcats number 7, 1 in 25. This Ladytron cover. It's got a distinct old school Frank Miller vibe to me. Like before Frank Miller got really I don't want to say crazy, but with the art, the art got really exaggerated. This is closer to those old school Daredevil days where he was working with Klaus Janson, that kind of stuff. Reminds me more of that. But once Sin City, he got a little more, I don't want to say artistic, but he took a little more license with some of the with the art, because just trying to make a point. Anyway, this 1 in 25, it reminds me of that. That's all. It's not selling for much. We'll see what happens. I like Wildcats. I'm a Jim Lee fan, so Wildcats has always got a special little spot in my heart, despite the fact that the story's okay. I'm gonna be honest. The Wildcat story was never the greatest thing in the world. It was interesting, but it could be fun. We'll see. Another DC 1 in 25 we've got here is Batman Incorporated number 8. I guess this is Tap Dance. Some of these design covers have been doing well. You guys remember, what was it? That rodeo clown, or I can't remember what his name was, but you had that rodeo clown looking character. That one was selling for double ratio not that long ago. And it looks like the same may be happening here for Tap Dance. While $25 is the current sale out of the UK. That's the only one I could find pre-sale wise from a month ago. The asking prices are asking $50 plus right now. People just hoping this is going to be a $50 book, or is this going to be a $50 book? I feel like it's more the hope than the reality, but we will see come Tuesday, because again, this is a DC book, so people will get this in hand on Tuesday, what happens with this one. Also, our next one, which is another DC design book, but this is a 1 in 50, and this is for Spirit World number 1. Another book I don't know a whole heck of a lot about. I know the Asian American and Pacific Islander month is going on. I am half Asian American Pacific Islander, so I will be celebrating by putting some shorts out there from Marvel this week. I'll probably be doing the DC ones maybe next week, so keep an eye out for those. I have fun putting those little shorts together with the music and the covers. But that said, Spirit World #1. Don't know a whole heck of a lot about it, but this is a design cover that's being pre-sold for a bit of money. None have sold yet. And all the listings actually have a white cover, which I guess is the not final art, because it looks like the final art's going to have this magenta, orange, tangerine kind of thing going. But the asking prices for this 1 in 50 are $75, $80, $120 out there. So will those actually reach those marks? I don't know. How many stores are ordering 50 copies of this book? That I don't know either. So one to keep an eye on come Tuesday to see what happens with it. Because if for one reason or another this does start getting hot and people start talking, well, it was the first appearance of this, or that, or the other, this could heat up, and we could be talking about this at the end of the week. So just one to keep an eye on. Now let's get to Marvel. As you can see, we're going up with the ratios. We're going a little higher, a little harder to find, a little less frequent. You're not going to find this at every shop. We have Daredevil. So we got this Derek Chew cover, 1 in 50, pretty cool virgin art. There is a regular version that you could find with trade dress. Granted, this version I'm showing here doesn't have the barcode and all that, but you get the idea. Trade dress, there will be a trade dress version for cover out there. I was going to put that in my regular cover picks, but I figured I'd save it for here when we can kind of talk about both. But as far as the 1 in 50 goes, the virgin cover art on this Chew cover, man, one sold for only $45, but then the next one sold for $125. It's a pretty steep increase in those pre-sales. Granted, both of those were back in April. It's been a month, so we'll see where this one goes. Asking prices, however, $55, $65, $130. So we'll see what happens with this book come Wednesday. Is the demand there? Will people pay that kind of premium for this book? I don't know the answer to that yet because it's been a month since those other pre-sales. These are there. So if somebody wanted to go pay, these are pretty close to ratio at 55 and 65. So we'll see what happens. So again, keeping an eye on it, watching it. Doesn't mean I'm definitely buying this. I can't be affording buying all these 1 in 50s, 1 in 100s. It's a bit too steep out of the wallet every week. I only will go for the ones that I really, really want for my collection. Not because, try to play that Wednesday Warrior game, which God bless you. I played it a while. I just can't keep up with it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hustle. I'd much rather talk about books than go and try to flip books. So that's why you find me doing more of this than more of the selling, because this is a lot more fun to me. But that all said, let's get on to the next bit. Another 1 in 50. Awesome Jeff DeCall cover here. Deckel. I always forget how to pronounce his name properly. But Rogan Gambit. I like this one. I ordered this one ahead of time because I like this one. I found a place. Price is okay. I paid the premium for it because I wanted to make sure I got this 1 in 50. This also has a regular trade dress variant, so you can get this with trade dress for regular cover price. Keep an eye out for that one. Not much different, but I did go in for the incentive. Pre-sales, not a lot going on. $40, $45. That's actually under ratio. Asking prices, though, they're still a 40, but then they start to tick up, and then you see people looking more for 90. I don't know where this one's going to land either. I feel like there might be copies of this out there because there are, I think, some stores doing some variants for the Rogan Gambit series because you can do rogue covers and sell your exclusives that way. And then if you're selling those exclusives, you're getting the incentives. So they're getting copies of these as well. I think that's probably where I bought or pre-bought my copy. But I just liked it. I just wanted it for me because I wanted one for my collection. But just watch the prices. We'll see what happens as the week goes on. Another Marvel 1 in 50 to talk about. Here is this Invincible Iron Man #6. This Invincible Iron Man's all over this list, but here we go. This is a Rose Besh cover. I haven't talked about her in a while, but I actually like this. I like the colors here. It's bright. It's vibrant. I like this, this virgin cover. This is a 1 in 50. Once again, there is a trade dress version you can get for cover price. So if you're happy with this, just pay the $4 and get this. Don't go paying the 1 in 50 prices. So this is an option for you. But if you do want that 1 in 50, it looks like right now some pre-sales have sold for $45. That was back in April 12th. Then come April 21st, it was $100. Then come May 3rd, it was $120. So steep increases there on this one for this 1 in 50. And then let's look at the asking prices right now. 100 to 120 bucks. And you can see, look, 9 watchers and 25 watchers. So there's people watching this book, keeping an eye out for it to see what's going to happen. But double ratio plus seems like this could be one of the ones that may keep that price and end up on our top 10 later in the week. We'll see. So if you see it at your shop, could be worth considering if it's not too expensive to grab it, because it might be worth it. But we'll see. One that I'm pretty sure is probably going to be tough to find for most of us and probably pretty expensive is anytime we get Jenny Frison doing these. I don't want to say, well, Boom's not a minor publisher, but still not a Marvel or DC book. And what we've got this time out is we got a 1 in 50 for Ghost Lore #1. Stark black cover, 1 in 50, Jenny Frison. This one's probably going to be tough. This one's probably going to be pricey. I don't know if it's going to be like Nightmare Country Death Cover, $400 pricey, but that was a 1 in 100. That was a special circumstance. That was a character people knew. There's fans of it. This is a little different, but still, keep an eye on this one. Pre-sale so far, I found one, $170. $170 for pre-sale for this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Asking prices, I found 2. Asking $111 and $126. Both of them well above double ratio. So we'll see what happens with this book come Wednesday. But it is definitely one I'm going to keep an eye on, because this is probably going to be one of those tough ones. And if you're a Jenny Frison collector, is going to be another tough one for you to grab and tough for you to add to your collection. Because, again, I don't know how many shops are ordering 50 copies of Ghost Lore. Now, going over to Marvel again, I'm going to go back down in ratio. And the reason we're going to go back down in ratio is because we got to talk about a couple of the covers here. First one up is the 1 in 25 for Silk. Yes, we're getting another volume of Silk. Silk #1, and I dig this. David Nakayama. You guys know I'm a fan. I made this part of the thumbnail on purpose. The bright colors. I like it. Well, I'm a fan of the artist. 1 in 25. Midtown has this selling for the same amount as the 1 in 50, but this is the 1 in 25. Just keep that in mind. And keep that in mind when we look at some of these prices too. This is the 1 in 25. Pre-sale prices. About $40 copies have sold for. And those are both in May. So a few days ago. ASCII prices, again, $40, $45. 22 watchers on that $45 as well. So looking at double ratio coming out of the blocks here for Silk #1. Once again, same warning applies as far as store exclusives go. It is a #1. It's a spider character. It's a female spider character. She's got a show coming. There could be plenty of exclusives out there, which means plenty of incentive variants floating around out there as well. So be mindful of that before you start throwing money wherever you want. Don't get that FOMO. Just keep it in mind. If you want to pay it, but just don't pay it expecting to become even richer. That's all I'm saying. But see these prices. This is for the 1 in 25, because there is also a 1 in 50 here. Another Chew cover, another Derek Chew cover. Pretty cool. I kind of like it. This is the 1 in 50. There is a trade dress version of this one as well. So you can get the trade dress if you don't feel like paying the 1 in 50 price. But the 1 in 50 is also pre-selling for $30 to $40. But there's half as many, right? Well, doesn't seem to bother the collectors. And then asking prices again, right around 40 up to 70. So maybe a little bit higher on some of the asks, but still, you see what it's actually selling for. It's selling for right around the same as the 1 in 25, which is kind of interesting. And on top of this, we still have yet another incentive. We have a 1 in 100 Peach Momoko cover. Silk, line in there on a flower. It kind of makes it look like, is this supposed to be like some sort of Ant-Man character? I don't know. I don't know what she was going for with this, but it's not terrible. I like the art. It's okay, but I'm not paying these prices. Maybe get the cover price version, of which there is a cover price version, so keep an eye out for that too. But if you want that Virgin 1 in 100, it may cost you. It may cost you. Let's take a look at this one. A lot of pre-sales on this. All looking right around that ratio. Well, I should say the early pre-sales, 140 back in April, beginning of April. Middle of April, we hit $200 on a pre-sale for a 1 in 100. Then we get later in April, April 25th, it's down to 90. So now we're under ratio. And then we hit, again, April 26th, so still at the end of April, another $100. So now it hit a high of 200, and then even the pre-sales came down to ratio. So another thing, another indicator. Keep an eye out for this one. I don't know if this one's going to hover up that high and stay up that high, but we'll see. Asking prices, again, all over, looking for anywhere from 107 to 190. There's a 120 and 140 in there as well. So everybody's looking for ratio plus right now, but come Wednesday, we'll see where this kind of settles. But that's not the only 1 or 100. Well, that's the only 100 we got to talk about. This is for Silk. That's the only 100. I mentioned Amazing Spider-Man 25 had that black and white Disney cover as a 1 as well. But it also has this, yet another Amazing Fantasy 15. But this time it's Spidey in the classic cover with Gwen instead of MJ and the black suit. Sure. Keep an eye on this one as well, because I think there are enough store exclusives for ASM 25 to make this one not that hard to get. But prices we'll see. 1 $70, $70 thereabouts, and then May 3rd, $116 all of a sudden. Okay, so it's still just a little above ratio. It's not crazy above ratio, but the asking prices too. This is where I'm at. $125, $200, $300. I don't think this one's going to be that hard to find, especially online. I think there will be shops that will have this. Granted, they may be asking a premium. You got to pay that if you want it, or we'll see what happens. But just keep that in mind. I don't think it's going to be that impossible to find, but we'll see what happens come Wednesday. With that said, I've gone over half an hour. I've tried to keep this thing a little shorter, but I keep picking out more and more books that I like. But I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. You agree, you disagree? What books are you looking for this week? Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. Members, I'm going to try to drop this probably in the middle of the Star Wars show or right after the Star Wars finishes. So maybe like at midnight tonight. I don't know. I got to edit this up and then get it done and out. And then everybody else will get to see it. Maybe Monday at 6, if not Tuesday at 6. So we'll see how things go, because I still have hidden gems to film tonight before I call it quits. So with that, I'll see you guys soon with some more content. All right, later.